Time is now 6:38 p.m. We're calling this meeting to order. We have present Councilmember Yarbrough, Councilmember Rodriguez, Councilmember Cornelison, and Councilmember Hodges. Absent is Mayor Pro Tem Mize. A quorum is present. Tonight, Pastor Marcus Vale, the new minister coming in for Movement City Church, will be here next month. We'll be doing the invocation, and then we'll be doing the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please rise.
Let us pray. Dear God, we come before you today with grateful hearts, seeking your presence and guidance in this meeting. We acknowledge your sovereignty, and we humbly ask for your wisdom to lead this council in all of their conversations. I ask that you'll give them discernment to make decisions that will benefit our community and honor your will. May their discussions be filled with insight and understanding, and may they listen to each other with respect and open minds. I ask for your direction in all matters that they address today. Guide them towards paths that promote the well-being and prosperity of our city and its residents. Help them to navigate challenges with grace and to find solutions that reflect your justice and mercy. And above all, we pray for unity. May we work together for the common good, instill in each of us a spirit of cooperation and a shared commitment to serving the people of Godley with integrity and compassion. We trust in your wisdom and guidance, and we place this meeting in your hands. Bless their time and energy in this evening, and let your will be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wasn't input always 5 minutes prior for public input? Or is it always 3 minutes? It says 3 minutes today.
It says 5 minutes. It says 5.
Okay. Different paper, different things. Next thing will be public input. The City Council invites citizens to speak on any topic. However, unless the item is specifically noted on this agenda, the City Council is required under the Texas Open Meetings Act to limit its response to responding with a statement of specific factual information, reciting the city's existing policy, or directing the person making the inquiry to visit with city staff about the issue. No council deliberation is permitted. Each person will have 5 minutes to speak. I will let you know when you have 1 minute left. The first person that signed up is Daniel Kyle.
Good evening. So what happens when a city or town grows too fast? Most, if not all, the roads in Godley are 2-lane roads that become backed up within the first 10 minutes of normal rush hour traffic, causing massive backups at all intersections. Not to mention the burden applied to first responders. It takes more time to arrive on the scene of an emergency or even domestic dispute. The term gridlock comes to mind. Rapid growth can be disorienting and detrimental to the existing residents of Godley. It is unclear, despite conventional wisdom, that growth itself should be construed as any sort of measurement of success or prosperity. There are plenty of examples of growing towns that are not thriving, and other examples of thriving towns that are not growing. This growth we are seeing and being waged against us as residents of Godley seems more like a Ponzi scheme than resilient wealth. Low-value development consistently fails to pay for itself, leaving the next generation on the hook for this generation's overbuilt and mismanaged infrastructure. Growth in a community should be naturally decided through the political process. When new developments come in, the older developments go without much needed reinvestment from the city. For example, road maintenance. I have personally sent in 4 road repair requests since I moved my family to Godley. That was over 2 years ago. I've heard nothing from the city, and no repair has been done on my road. Older generations of homeowners age out of their homes in a neighborhood where little to nothing has changed in decades, and the city finds that a younger generation isn't eager to purchase in that neighborhood. Overgrowth versus crime rate. For overall crime, consisting of violent, property, and other crimes, Godley is currently rated in the 53rd percentile for safety. That means 47% of cities in the U.S. are safer than Godley, and 53% are more dangerous. Many families are moving into Godley for the schools. However, there isn't enough parking for any school event currently. How do y'all plan to accommodate for this influx of families? My hyperinflated tax dollars help fund the schools, including but not limited to employees, equipment, amongst other things. Unfortunately, the city hasn't been proactive enough to ensure sustainable growth. Instead, they are now implementing school bond voting and other means which ultimately cost the taxpayer. So much of the problem has come with residential development corporations. The almighty dollar triumphs over every decision. When expansion is planned, the city needs to step it up. The developer may have the money and the promise of good tax money revenue, but poorly designed neighborhoods and poorly maintained roads will quickly lose value in only a couple of generations as people realize how much time and money is wasted by elected public servants. By having cities adopt better development regulations, they can ensure safe, comfortable neighborhoods that can operate and fulfill many residents' requests and expectations for generations to come and are sustainable for the future generations. I'm not anti-growth, I'm not anti-development, but we the people, the citizens of Godley, who pay your salaries through hyperinflated tax streams, want gradual evolution and iterative growth of successful communities. Essentially, with expansion comes tax increases or inflation. The city of Godley raised property taxes on average 26% year to year from fiscal year 2021 to 2022. My property taxes this past year was $6,500. Now my water bill has incurred an approximate 60% increase. I'm paying almost $200 a month now. Nothing has changed. I'm not using any more or any less water or trash pickups. I haven't gained another child. This is ludicrous, it's insane, it's unacceptable. One sign of obvious governmental corruption is governmental turnover. City Hall shut down about 3 years ago due to corruption. We the people have had enough. This current panel of elected officials have officially been put on notice of no confidence. Get it straightened out or resign.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kyle.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Roy Dennis.
Well, I come up to ask you to help me understand my water bill, that it jumped up from the middle of February to the middle of March, used 9,000 gallons of water, and like $55 for water usage. And it dropped down to 5,000 when it went down. This past bill went up to 8,000, but that's still 1,100 gallons less than in February to March. Yet it jumped up to $78 from $55 back then when I used 1,000 more. What you charge for sewer for months was $24.19. It went up from middle of March to middle of April. It went up $2.50. Great. But now it's gone up from $26 to $69 in 1 month's time. That's almost 2.5 times higher. Or the meter, I don't use any more water month for month, and we're not doing more laundry, washing more dishes, taking more showers, but it's like going from 9,000 to 5,000 up to 8,000. It's really fluctuating. Is anybody calibrating the meters, the electronic meters, or have checked them? But the water bill doubled.
I can help you with your water bill. I can get you my card and then I can break it down and go over it with you and explain it to you. Let me go get it for you, okay?
All right. But the rate for the sewer, give a notice if you're gonna jack the rates up. I don't know if the rates went up, if there wasn't any notice of it. But also the other thing, I was here last fall, the city broke my sewer line. And where my sewer line comes into the main sewer line, when they put in a fire hydrant at the corner of my house and it broke, they broke it loose a little bit. Well, toilet paper hangs up, and periodically I've got to go out there, and it's usually on a Saturday night after I've taken a shower, my wife's done laundry, and it's clogged up, and I've got to get out there, pull the manhole cover off, and drag all that out with a long stick. The fire hydrant broke last summer, came out and fixed it. They parked the backhoe right over where my sewer line meets the main city line, broke it a little more. And they tore up the dirt, which I've always fixed that, but the city workers came out and said, we're gonna resod it, we're gonna bring in dirt, level it out, resod it, fix it all. I have ditches over there. The dirt's washed down in the ditch. It's backing the ditch up. They haven't brought any dirt. They did get out there with a hoe and knock some of the lumps down. But can you fix my sewer line? You know, and he told me I'm #1 on the list. Was it last September, last October? I think I was here twice. And I'm #1 on the list to get my sewer line fixed and get everything fixed. Nothing's happened. And I'd appreciate if you come fix my sewer line. You know, if I broke it, I fix it. The city of Godley breaks it. I realize y'all didn't get out there and break it, but it's the city people or contractor came out and broke it. And I really don't like getting out there at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, pulling the manhole cover up and getting a long stick and dragging the toilet paper that's clogged up from where it's offset. It just slowly accumulates. And it's getting old. I'm tired of it. And I'd appreciate it if y'all would send a crew out there and fix what the city broke. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Dennis.
Appreciate it.
I got it on the sign-in sheet.
You gonna get that recorded?
Yeah. I need to get fixed.
Moving on to mayor and council reports, presentations, and proclamations. Ms. Winkle?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Last meeting, we presented our first employee of the quarter. And now tonight, we'd like to issue our certificate to our second employee of the quarter. He couldn't be with us at the last meeting, so he's here tonight. You want to come in and stand? This is Officer Spencer Templer. And he was nominated by Chief Cantrell. So I'm going to read you what he wrote. Officer Spencer Templer is being nominated for the Employee of the Quarter because of his unselfish acts in helping the police department and his teamwork. Officer Templer has taken on the role of assisting the command staff on training and assisting new officers with training by learning the city of Godley. Officer Templer is always a positive member of this department and encourages other officers to stay positive and to be a team player. When asked to complete certain tasks the command staff might need help with, Officer Templer is always willing to help and assist in any way possible. We just want to tell you thank you for all your hard work, and being nominated by your chief is an honor.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
It is.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you need a picture with your family? Oh, hold that baby.
Oh, we up again?
Oh, look how pretty.
are we doing
You
over
girls look so pretty.
Yeah.
Here's a family picture.
Look at you girls. Oh my goodness, look here, look at that. What's he doing?
Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer, for all your work.
Moving on to City Secretary Whitney Grasses to administer the oath for the Godley firefighters.
I'm gonna have you face the council right here. There you go. You can just line up. Is that all you have? Hey, I need one more. Oh, the other one had gone to call. Oh, no. Okay. You stand.
Take two. Start.
Everybody, if you can raise your right hand. Okay, and if you'll repeat after me, okay? State your name.
State your name. Trevor Hutz, I grew up in St. Louis.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution
to support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
and to discharge faithfully
and to discharge faithfully
the duties of firefighter
the duties of firefighter
for the fire department
for the fire department
of the city of Godley, Texas,
of the city of Godley, Texas,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
All right, congratulations.
Oh, can y'all see everybody? Oh, you don't have to do that. Did you get one for the city? Okay, good. I want one in there. We need to get him in there. Brian needs to get in there. Y'all remember this moment when it gets really hot? You're fighting a fire. I'll bring your ice cream tomorrow.
Well done, Chief.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was nice.
I just want to know if there's as many shooting as the neighbors for the
Frank, is that your boy? Still is? Still is him? Yeah. I got you.
Yeah,
I knew what you meant.
tremor.
yeah, I got you.
But there were a lot of hands up there shaking. So
Well, hello. What did you
How
lose
do you
in?
ask him that? I gotta go take an ice cream tomorrow for that.
Nope, they were here for the firefighter.
all right, we'll be
I said I had
moving on to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda is approving the last meeting's minutes, the department reports, and Mayor Pro Tem Mize attending newcomers training. questions on the consent agenda?
On the fire department, what type of hazard is hazmat issues are reported? I don't.
Hang on.
Chief Thompson?
He's possible, if not, it's okay.
Can you can't shut the door. We can't shut the door. We have to keep the door
What
open.
type of hazardous chemical spills you had or issues? Said 4 of those on the board. Yeah, 4 of them. I thought it was.
Hang on, let me look real quick.
I didn't know if it was gasoline that drove off or somebody drove off.
That's generally what.
You
those
have
are.
hazmat. 4.
Yeah, and sometimes the way the guys will code it in the computer when they input the calls, sometimes it'll be a natural gas.
Turn your mic on, sir.
It shouldn't be, sometimes they do, but generally those are fuel spills at the gas station.
Thank you. I'm sorry to take you away from that out there.
That's okay.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as read.
Second. I think, can we discuss this anymore?
Yes, sir, 1 second. Have a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez and a second by Councilmember Yarbrough to accept the consent agenda as is. Further discussion, sir?
Just Gabrielle going to training. I think when one of us take the time out of our lives to go to training, it needs to be talked. Say thank you. Of course, she's not here. But instead of just glossing over that, thank you for taking out of your personal time to go help the city, help the city council. I'd rather not just gloss over that when one of us goes to training. It's important that people see us doing stuff like that. We shouldn't just gloss over it. That's all.
Is this the requirement that all new council members take?
The requirement is to take your,
They're newly.
your open records and your open meeting and your Public Information Act, and this has other classes that help in it.
He's the one who took.
This is what we did.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Misty.
You're welcome.
Anything further?
Nope.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Going on to new business. Item A, discuss and take possible action on approving resolution number 05-2024-15, adopting the City of Godley Personnel Manual.
Make a motion to approve item A in its entirety.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by Councilmember Yarbrough and a second by Councilmember Rodriguez to improve the adoption of the resolution number 05-2024-15, adopting the City of Godley Personnel Manual. Further discussion? Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item B, discuss and take possible action on approving the quarterly investment report for first quarter.
Make a motion to approve item B in its entirety.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Yarbrough and a second by Councilmember Hodges to approve item B in its entirety. Further discussion? Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item C, discuss and take possible action on removing Stephanie Hodges from the Holiday and Events Committee.
Make a motion to approve item C in its entirety.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by Councilmember Yarbrough and a second by Councilmember Rodriguez to approve removing Stephanie Hodges from the Holiday and Events Committee. Further discussion?
Discussion. It says she would, no one's asked you to remove, you just want to do it yourself. Would somebody take that position?
I was gonna mention, she sent in a request to be removed off it. thinking
Well,
it was
since
a
I'm on the
conflict.
council, that's, yeah, for the conflict purposes.
I was gonna say that just so people didn't think we were
That's what I was
arbitrarily
afraid of,
throwing her
somebody,
off.
oh, she's on here now, we're running her off that. I want to know, that's fine, as long as it's her decision, that's fine.
Any further discussion? Councilmember Yarborough?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I vote or can I abstain? You can abstain. I'll abstain.
We'll conflict her out because she can't abstain. Passes 3-0 with one conflicted out. Item D, discuss and take possible action on approving ordinance number 06-2024-116, allowing the city to accept donations.
Make a motion to approve item D in its entirety.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion by Councilmember Yarborough and a second by Councilmember Rodriguez to approve item D in its entirety. Further discussion?
Just my understanding of the way I read it, unless someone comes to the front of the council and says, hey, can I accept donations, they cannot accept donations.
That's correct.
Okay, the fire department wanted to have some kind of benefit, they have to come in front of us, or whatever. If we want to do something for the, events committee, they have to come to us and ask for the right to get donations, right?
I believe your events committee should already be budgeted into your budget for expenses, but if someone wants to come in and make any donation to any department in the city, or anyone wants to accept a donation, yes, that has to come through the council.
But for clarification, are you referring to the Fire Department Association or the Fire Department
I don't know.
itself?
When I was on it, we used to have pancake suppers, and once a year, we
Okay.
made money that way.
Well, that's the association, which
Right.
is a nonprofit. So I
Okay.
wouldn't believe they would need council approval as the association.
No, not if it's not to the city directly.
No.
And then when somebody wants to do an event and they ask for donations for items, auction or whatever, how's that work?
I mean, I think that would probably, depending on what the what that setup looks like, would probably have to come through as well. If there are any donations that are going to be made, monetary gift, property in any way, that are going to be made to the city directly, then it has to come through council,
Good.
the way it's written right now.
That's my question.
Is that what you
Yeah,
were understanding?
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna address this in discussion item down here, but basically, we'll have a budget put together for every event that we're proposing to do. And if we have an event where we might wanna have sponsorships, we'll talk about that during the budget process. Whether or not, like if we're gonna have an Easter event and we're gonna look for sponsorships for something, just hypothetically, then we would already have that approval by the council through the budget process where they're approving for us to accept donations or sponsorships prior to that event. So
So-
I plan on having that all done in the budget, and it'll be in the budget notes that those sponsorships are approved for each event, if we want to do that.
So you'll blanket an event.
No,
Like
not
with-
blanket it, but at the budget time, I will know whether or not we're gonna need sponsorships for things when we get ready to put those together, depending on, we don't need a sponsorship for the Easter egg hunt.
Or we're
We
using
don't.
hypotheticals. If you say you need them for July 4th event, right?
Right.
And can we blanket that event for her to take as the donations that she sees, or the sponsorship or does every single sponsorship have to come before us? Does that make sense what I'm saying? As a whole, we're giving her that permission?
For
Or-
any and all sponsorships for any event? No, I don't think you could do a blanket. I mean, like you said, when she.
No, I mean for that specific event.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I
Okay.
think that that's something, like she's saying, that'll come through, from the beginning, that if you need sponsorships, we assume that we would want it for X amount, or whatever that proposal looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, because when we bring the events to you, we'll say, for the 4th of July, we're gonna do a sparkler sponsorship that does this for $100. We're gonna do a firecracker sponsorship for $200. We'll already have that within the budget, and you'll already have information on it ahead of time to approve that. I'll come back and let you know as the events get closer, you know, this is where we're at, this is where we're at, we have this sponsorship or not. So it'll still come through to you. But trying to get ahead of that, because most events need a lot of time to plan, it's not gonna be the last minute. I prefer to have it in our budget, so that we know how much money can be spent. Then if Joe Blow, business owner, says, hey, I'd like to sponsor this for you, then we can come to the council and say, we're gonna have this added to the event, but they would like to sponsor it. We don't have the funds for that. Then we'd get your approval for it. That makes sense? So it's not so complicated and convoluted. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I've had to do it before.
Any further questions? Councilmember Yarborough?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item E, discuss take possible action on approving ordinance number 06-2024-117, creating a Help Your Neighbor Utility Fund.
We talked about this at our last meeting, took discussion on it. It was brought up by Councilmember Rodriguez, wanted to see something like this. And so we now have before you the ordinance to approve the Help Your Neighbor Utility Fund account.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance creating your Help Your Neighbor Utility Fund.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez and a second by Councilmember Hodges to approve ordinance number 06-2024-117, creating a Help Your Neighbor Utility Fund. Further discussion? I got a couple questions. In here it talks water, I want to make sure intent matches what's written. It talks water and garbage. Does not mention sewer.
Well, it's all your whole utility account.
Well,
But if they don't have sewer, we have some people here that don't have sewer, some people are on septic that have been here a long time ago, then it's just to take care of their account, their utility account.
well, I just want to make sure we capture what the intent of the whole thing was. If it's,
It's to help with their utility bill, the entire bill.
so I think where it
One
says
time.
water and garbage, we should add sewer in.
It'll be on there as well. It's part of the bill. If it doesn't mention the word sewer in here, is that what you're saying on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
ordinance?
Section.
Well, then we'll have to just add the word sewer.
My other question.
But under utility, utilities usually is your water and your sewer.
So you could replace water with
Cause
utility.
up at the top, in
That
that
would cover it
first, it says
If-
water
if
and sewer
necessary.
customers.
Well, like in section 2, it says water and garbage bills. It does not mention sewer, but we lose some of it throughout the, I just want to make
Well,
sure
we
we're
can just
covering
mark-
what the
We can
intent was.
change that to utility. And that'll cover our utilities.
Spoken like a true bomb technician.
One other, one other question on it was, it talks that, I believe it said that the bill must be of the current, they can't be past due.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody falls behind this month, thinking they're gonna make it, then they're no longer eligible for it.
Mm-hmm. But if they come to us and we let them know, we're getting our newsletter out for the July bills, to tell them that this is a program that we have taking place. So if I didn't pay my bill last month, and it would be time for me to come to the city and look for help. We have several charity organizations that already do that and make pledges. So there's really not a lot of people behind anymore. All that's been caught up and taken care of. And we offer other assistance before it gets to this. We offer payment plans, extension to do payouts onto their bill, So they may have to pay their water bill plus like $5, $10 extra until they get that paid off. We make arrangements with them ahead of time. So all of that, once all of those options are gone, this is for someone who has had an emergency and needs help. We don't want to make it a habit of someone who we already know is getting pledges and/or other assistance to come get our assistance as well.
Will that be able to be tracked?
Yeah, we can check with Tarrant County, and I know we probably check with Johnson County and see if there's any, usually it's Catholic Charities that does it. And that's who we can check through. We had to do that at our other city because we had a lot of people that did that. So they've gotta, yes, they've gotta have had a current bill and something caused that to be past due. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And we'll use common sense to tell us whether or not,
Yeah,
cause
'cause I'm with you. I
normally
think
people
that's
that come
what
and
we want
ask
to
for
help
it
if it's
have
possible.
always paid their bill on time, but something detrimental has happened. That's all it is.
It's for disaster,
Yes,
not
yes,
for general
No.
assistance. That's
No.
outside the scope.
right.
Gotcha. And you've dealt with this before in Sansom Park, where you may have had some abuse of a system that tried to help people.
Yes,
And so you've seen that before, and that's why you've architected, I guess you want to call it, this way.
and we, like I said, we check just to make sure because we have ran into people that had pledges from like 3 different organizations. Then they would end up getting a credit or a refund from us. Or we had to pay back the charity. So,
That's not going to work.
and it makes it for a terrible accounting. It's terrible, so we're gonna be very particular. I know Brittany's very particular, she's been doing it a long time with this. So, it's a way to help people out. If we don't make it real complicated, it's a great tool to help our citizens out with.
My concern is the time it takes the city to do all this great program and all that. She's gotta take time, somebody's gotta take time out of their day to do this every month when it happens. And then we're gonna take the, events, holiday program, and we're gonna add that to the city staff, and then we're gonna come up with some other great idea that doesn't cost nothing, but we gotta add that, and before long, we're hiring somebody else, so. I mean, these people need this help, they can find it someplace else, they don't need to come to the city, we don't need to be putting people who already need help, who are already working. That's my concern with it. I just see it leading to spent time, we don't have the employees spending time on stuff, and later on, 1 more or 2 more things, we need somebody to help with these special items. So we gotta hire another employee.
So let me get this correct. You're saying that you have an issue with the city offering our citizens help, another avenue of help?
Yep, I do, because sometimes it's gonna take, we don't have the money to pay, we already have problems with the amount of people we have working for us. That's what I'm worried about. We raise taxes, we raise fees, we raise everything. Now we wanna turn around and spend that money to help other people when they can, when
Okay.
they can find this someplace else.
I'm just do you understand this program?
I do.
Okay, so where's the money coming from?
Catholic Charities, Baptist Church.
But how's that costing the city? How
It's
is
not.
this here is not coming from those charities?
those
How's
will
that
go-
costing the city money?
No. Who's gonna sit there and do the paperwork? Who's gonna call and see are these people getting it from 4 or 5 other places? Who's making those phone calls? Who's doing the paperwork to pay the bill? It's a few hours, but then there's something else that comes up we gotta do, and a few more things we gotta do. It just keeps rolling downhill. The money in helping the people is fine, but they can get that same help from the organizations that are giving us money. They can get that same help from those organizations.
But is it any different from your jobs? That you have to do something and then something else gets added, so now you have to do that and then you have to do that?
And then when it gets to the point, I get an assistant.
But I do believe that this was discussed with our staff prior to this, and our staff they're all for wanting this program to assist our citizens because times are hard, and we're trying to figure out ways to assist our community. I do know that when I was in here, we did have issues with people that had long-term illnesses that could have used this program. And I, for one, am also a tax-paying citizen besides just a council member, and I do not mind it being put on my water bill to pay additional fees if that's my choice. But I think that option should be out there for all the citizens to check that box if they choose. But it's not costing, it's not a set cost to each a citizen. It is by choice.
That's right. That part's free, but the time it takes our staff to do that is not free.
But it's set into the program that she has. Am I correct?
She's gonna do it at lunch?
No, as you're paying the bill.
No, wouldn't they?
Each bill is processed, and as it's processed, it goes into each department and each fund. It's no different
Who's
than,
gonna call and make sure these people aren't double dipping on 3 or 4 other
Are
places?
you talking about once they request to have this, once they request the assistance?
Well, you just said you had to call, you had to pay money back because
Oh,
of it?
that was, yes, I've seen that before where people were getting money like during the COVID time.
Who checked on that?
We did, the clerks.
That's what I'm saying the cost is right there.
Can you
I-
give us an estimate, back in Sansom Park when you ran this program, right?
Uh-huh, go
Can you
ahead.
give us an estimate of how many hours a month you spent on this particular program?
Probably not even a whole hour in a month. I mean, it was very random. Most of the time it was your elderly residents who probably just fell ill and needed assistance.
But it's all auto-generated through the software, the water bills. You can run reports, everything through it,
Yes, you can,
along with the water bills.
yes, you can.
Okay.
As far as checking with other agencies, once you get those contacts, that could be just a quick email. Have you helped them in the past month or so? Once you build those relationships, and we've been working on that, so that should not be an issue. But having something here for residents in Godley to show that we're here to support them, especially after all the changes, it will be nice, especially you have a lot of elderly here.
usually the counties have a place to contact because of that, not just happening at cities, it happens at all the different places. So they already have someone, they already have people listed that have been helped in the past. So that disqualifies them if they've received that help, you know.
Come up all the time at the churches and same people every week, every month.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Yeah. If I may recommend, Councilmember Rodriguez, if you can amend your motion to, with changes.
I'd like to amend my motion with the changes that we made.
Second.
Do I need to list them? I guess I don't.
Have a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez and a second by Councilmember Yarbrough to amend the previous motion to add with changes to the ordinance. Discussion on that?
Mayor, can I clarify that those changes are just changing the water and garbage, changing everything to utility bills, so it covers all utilities clearly?
Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
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 The amendment to the motion passes 4-0. So now for the motion to approve ordinance number 062024-117, creating a Help Your Neighbor Utility Fund with changes. Councilmember Yarbrough?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Going on to section 7, discussion items. Item A, discuss options for the renovation of the Veterans Memorial. Ms. Winkle?
Councilmember Scott Yarborough had brought this up. We talked about it at the last meeting. He wanted to look at doing some repairs or renovation at the Veterans Memorial. I've contacted I hate to say funeral home, but a funeral home, to look at having the bronze plaque refurbished. It needs to be cleaned up. We don't wanna lose the patina on it, but where it's been drawn on and stuff. So I'm trying to get some prices on that. Also, in your packet, I provided you some things to look at. This is not a very good picture because I thought it was gonna be in color. Is theirs in color?
No.
No.
Okay. The first one is a brick, a brick platform compared to the concrete platform that's already there. This is kind of a red brick. It's beautiful. It looks really good. I've also put a picture in here of the field cross, which I think is really, really nice. Be something to add to that memorial. There's also a picture of chiseled granite. And this is just so you can look and see what it looks like. It's all right. I've seen some of them like this, but it would lay flat and then the chisel would be around the edge actually. So if this was turned flat, that's the idea. I still keep going back to the brick because it's really, really pretty. But the very last one is kind of an idea. Ours is half moon shaped as well. But maybe in the future, we can start getting ready to maybe add a wall like this. And you would have that memorial in the center and your flag. So if that's something you kind of want to start looking at, that was just an idea. I mean, we'd have to get somebody to really draw it up, but this I thought was really pretty. It's almost like the wall that we did at the park at the other city that I worked at. We did Haydock brick and then they put that sandstone in front of it, and it was a little bit, I don't want to say cheap because it wasn't cheap, but it was more affordable and a lot nicer looking than just a brick wall. But I do like the brick platform because it stands out. And so I will continue, I will get those prices for you, but I just want to make sure I'm going in the right direction on this platform. Because I'm thinking we can get the bronze plaque refurbished and place that in the front. Of course, we'd want it to be a little larger than this one to match the size. But if that's something that y'all like, that way I know I'm going in the right direction.
If you're gonna replace the bronze plaque, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, where it's sitting on top,
Uh-huh.
put it in the front.
Oh, okay, so not replace it, just move it.
No, moving it.
Move it.
So it's more like this. And then you can look, the field cross, maybe putting it on top. That would add something to it and give it a facelift and an update.
Yeah.
And I think it would look really, really nice. But that's just me.
Are we
And-
looking at adding names
Yeah,
to
that's-
the?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
That's what I was gonna say.
And do we have someone that might know of an updated list, or
I don't know, but
Are
we can
those-
certainly find somebody somewhere.
maybe, you know,
School,
at the high
maybe.
school, when
Yeah.
you walk in that main office area, that whole wall.
That's right.
So maybe you could get an update from that.
Yeah.
What are those names on those fallen?
I'm sorry, do
Are they fallen soldiers that you're talking about adding names? Or are they just people who
A
served?
memorial with a
or-
battlefield cross would seem to presuppose fallen soldiers.
Yes.
But
Okay.
I think
And that's
from,
okay with me if you guys.
yeah,
agree.
and I think from all those pictures at the high school on their wall, we could probably determine, and they may have already determined
Yeah.
that, so.
Okay,
I love the idea personally, just one vote here, but I like the idea of the brick. Red is even better. I love the idea of the battlefield cross and getting rid of the current concrete that's
yes,
there. I don't wanna paint it in some weatherproof paint,
no,
you know, and
I agree.
so the brick would be great in my view with the battlefield cross and refurbishment of the current plaque and maybe the addition of some more names later.
yeah. Well, if we build the brick platform taller, then you would have the plaque you have and then give us an area to add those names.
Oh, that's right.
And you could add them
Agreed.
to the side, you
see
can
what
add
you're
them to
saying.
the back.
Right.
And then later, if we want to build the wall, you know, to
You
add
could
the
even go all the
wall,
way around.
you can go all the way around.
Hopefully in the future, we won't have
Well,
a
I
reason
know.
to add more.
But there may be some that, since you've since the Veterans Memorial has been built, need to be added. But that gives you space
Yes, ma'am.
to do that, so. Be a nice little quiet area, I think. It's a pretty area with that half moon, some flowers and greenery.
And then this last thing, this last drawing you have also is very nice. I like
Yeah, I
that.
like that too.
I really do.
I was trying to find something that kind of matched what you already have.
And it does.
Yeah.
It fits very well with what we have.
So-
Maybe keep the expense down some, even though,
Well, this can be budgeted in the next year, but for this year, we've budgeted some monies to do that renovation, and so that'll work on that and get the first part done. So we'll call this phase one. But I just wanna make sure I'm going in the right direction. Y'all all like the brick?
Yes, ma'am.
I think you like it better than I do the concrete.
Yes.
I've even asked about having the concrete repaired, and then they can paint it. And they were like, if it's gonna crack, it's gonna crack again. It has to do with the foundation, of course. And so then it's gonna show a crack through the protective material, so.
How sturdy is that cross? I just thinking kids climbing on it and swinging on it. How sturdy is that? Do they say how much will it hold up?
I don't know. I'd have to find that out.
Looks nice, but.
Yeah.
so anything
Surely,
you put that they're gonna climb on.
yeah. Surely, well, all of our cameras are fixing to be operating come tomorrow, Thursday. All of our cameras are gonna be operating everywhere come Thursday.
Good.
So, that's our project for Thursday.
Do we have a camera on that monument?
We'll have cameras everywhere. We will have them everywhere. They're gonna be at the park, they're gonna be at the wells, they'll be everywhere, so that'll help. And then put a big sign that says, "You are on camera, smile."
That's nice to know.
Something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna get some good prices. Okay, sounds good.
Thank
Love
you.
it too, you're welcome.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Long time coming.
Definitely.
Moving on to item B, discuss availability for the July 2nd, 2024 regular scheduled council meeting.
I just wanted to see if everybody was available just because it's the week of a holiday. And I didn't know if people were gonna be out of town, so I just wanted to see if y'all were all gonna be able to be present or not.
I never go anywhere, so I'll be here
Okay.
if necessary.
We'll be here, I think.
Well, I'll be here.
I'll be here.
Should be.
Okay, I just wanted to verify. Thank
May
you.
nothing, I may not be.
Thank you for asking us.
You're welcome.
You know about Gabrielle?
She'll be back.
Item C, discuss ordinance 03-2024-109 regarding the holiday and events committee.
Okay, so this, it's my understanding the Holiday Events Committee was established, when there were no employees here. And I have been a big part of working with the Events Committee. They don't have purchasing abilities, and so I'm doing a lot of the purchasing for them. And I'm not wanting you to dissolve it, but I do want you to think about considering letting me oversee the planning management and the budgetary requirements of this committee. First of all, one of the things that I read in the ordinance about the committee is that they are supposed to be abiding by the Public Meetings Act. And so when they get together, and I met with Eliza, and she had informed me that sometimes they can get all their members together, sometimes they can't. If you can't get a full quorum, you're not supposed to meet, according to what it says in the ordinance. So taking that away to where that they don't have to meet and abide by the Open Meetings Act and putting them under my direction will release them from that meeting requirement. Because I can meet with Eliza, or I can meet with any member of the committee with their ideas and with us planning things, and I don't have to be I don't have to set it up as a posted meeting. Be no different than you, if I met with you individually, if I met with you individually, if I met with you. We're gonna, that'll be taken care of through the planning management. I will need all their help, because I'm not gonna tell you I can plan it, manage it and budget it, and then go down there and work it. I'm not gonna tell you that, but I've worked a lot of them. But everybody's help will be tremendous for us. So we don't wanna lose that part of the help that's usually needed. And we will probably call on council members and the mayor to help work too. These events are gonna be for the citizens of the city, and there's all kinds of things that can be done, If nothing more, like Easter morning, getting out and helping us hide Easter eggs before the event starts, those kind of things. That's the only reason I'm asking for this direction for the committee, is it makes it a little bit easier on me to be able to manage the budget and manage the planning of the events. And then we're not waiting till the last minute to get some of those events. These events are gonna, if they're gonna be annual, we'll start planning those really, really early. Like, I've already got a list of some events that we're wanting to take care of for next year, 2025, October of 2025. Because it's gonna take a while to plan that event. So that's why I'm asking for us to discuss that and see if you have any interest. We can keep the committee if you wanna keep them, but they will have to abide by the Public Meetings Act. And so that means that they have 8 members, they'll have to have a quorum here. And they'll have to post it, we'll have to post the meeting, and all of that. And I don't see the necessity in that when it comes
Eliza's
to
planning
reporting she's having
events.
trouble sometimes getting a quorum together.
I think she does. I think she has had trouble getting a quorum, and it's because of everybody's schedule, and I understand that. That's hard. It's hard enough, you know how many times I've said, well, just like Brittany just did, are y'all gonna be in town? It's a holiday. Most people leave town. So it's hard to do those things, especially on an advisory committee or a volunteer. It's hard to do that. But I work for you, that's my job, so I'm here. And I can easily meet with one on one, or, a portion of the committee or whatever, if we're planning things, so.
Something I'd like to address, a concern of mine is, in section 2, it says, they shall serve in an advisory committee to the city council. Correct me if I'm wrong, but clear, it says advisory committee. It does not say that they can go out and make decisions on the behalf of the city. They cannot create things outside of the council's advisory without coming to us. And I do believe that has happened in a couple instances that I'm not real pleased with, and used the city's voice as theirs and made a decision that never came to the council. I did not find out about that decision until after it was made and presented to the public. I wasn't very happy about that one, so I feel like, again, that we have to rein that in, so that there is a channel to the council. Because I think already we understand the violations of the Open Meetings Act, that they've already done, and then now making decisions on the behalf of the city without the council's approval. That needs to all be brought in, I think. And if that means abolishing this ordinance and coming up with a new ordinance, that it's under her direction, but it needs to be very clear to them that they do not make decisions on behalf of the city, and they don't take that away from this council.
Seems like the structure Ms. Winkle has presented seems more streamlined and efficient than what we got going now, so
I agree.
I
Well,
don't have a
and
problem
like-
doing it the way she wants to do it.
I agree.
Purchasing things, we have a purchasing policy. If it's over a certain amount, we have to have a PO issued for it. That's by the purchasing policy. And not that anybody's not abiding by it, but when you're trying to purchase things for an event and you hit that threshold, then you have to have 3 quotes. those kind of things.
Sure.
Things that they shouldn't have to abide by
Yeah.
because they don't know that.
Right.
And I don't expect them to know it.
Yeah.
That's where I can come in and be more helpful. I need the help during the events, a lot of the events. I can help you plan it and make sure that we're within the budgetary requirements, the purchasing requirements. We're not violating any Open Meetings Act. We're not doing any of those things. We're all good to go.
So is this something, how would you eradicate this ordinance to put another one?
So I haven't extensively reviewed the current ordinance, but just based on, really what we could do is probably just amend the current ordinance to make the changes. I don't think we would have to abolish and start over. I think there's good enough basic bones in this one that we can just tweak a couple things here or there on how it works, and that would be sufficient.
Okay, thank you.
What say you, Roger?
I don't,
You say you, Steph, any, Mrs.
Oh,
Hodges?
I agree with
I was gonna call you
just
Steph,
wanna
but that was
make
a little
sure.
bit too familiar.
oh, wait, I thought you were gonna say something.
No.
I just wanna make sure we have citizens, have participation. Other than that, that's the only thing I'm concerned about.
So what are your, what were your concerns?
That we have citizens, you know, you work with citizens, a citizens committee that works with this, and you help them, or they help you, however it works out.
Yes.
It might be easier and more streamlined for you to take control of it. That's fine. I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure we keep, we
I
gotta
just-
get people involved in the city, whether it be this or something else.
Yes. And it's no way to eliminate them at all.
Right.
It's just to keep us, there's a huge liability on the fact that they have to meet according to the Opens Meeting Act. That's a huge liability. And the purchasing one. So when those purchases come in, cause I kept track of them during this last year events, you know, every so often I'd have to look to make sure it didn't go over that 3,000 mark on different purchases. And so it just makes it a little bit easier. So that it doesn't come back to haunt us later at an audit that says, well, why didn't you get 3 bids for this? And I wouldn't be able to tell them why, because the advisory committee purchased it. I didn't, you know, I only paid the bill. So,
I would assume it takes some pressure off the leader of the
Yeah.
committee as well, having to track and manage and
Yes.
keep up with law.
yes, and we'll have an actual
Now they won't
budget
have
for
to do
them.
that.
Yeah.
And it'll be, you know,
They can just
in the budget.
plan.
And we can keep up with what they have, what they don't. I'd like to have each event categorized, you know, under special events. And that'll make it a lot easier for everybody, and they'll know what they can spend and, or what we can spend.
Yeah.
Depending on what they wanna add each year to the event. Maybe there's something they wanna add each year, so.
This would allow you also as to add or if people move or whatever, add or remove members without having to come to the council.
Sure, I would think so.
So would there still be members if it's not a committee and it's just volunteers, like what we're talking about? I mean, would a committee still need to be named if it's not really a committee? Because if it's a committee, it has to fall under the Open Meetings Act, correct?
No, not necessarily. I think you could structure it in a way to where it's like a volunteer committee that anything that comes through with Angie. Now, yeah, and if they're going to meet under the Open Meetings Act, that just requires if they all meet together. But I think what Angie is suggesting is they wouldn't really have meetings all together. She would kind of piecemeal with each one. And then could distribute that way through there.
Or, you know, you break down volunteers, these people wanna do this part, the decoration committee. And these people wanna take care of the whatever committee,
Food or, yeah.
and the rides, and the carnival, or whatever. We'd break it down like that, so we're not all meeting at one time, but everybody has a job to do.
There would never be a need to
No.
have the whole committee present.
And I've done that in the past at other places, and it's worked out perfectly well.
So you're saying still have the initial 8 members and then volunteers additional outside of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we would just meet in groups of the decoration committee, the food committee, the whatever, you know, and try to do it like that. Just so that we're still working with the ones who wanna help volunteer with us, but this is their expertise, you know, so. Just a thought.
So along that lines, while we're talking about the holiday committee, I would like some clarification on what I've asked and we've talked about, is who set the guidelines, for the hometown hero? How did that come about without the council being aware of it?
I don't know how it came about. I assumed that it came from the chamber, but then I found out it wasn't from the
Yeah,
chamber.
it wasn't. So that's one of them things, making a decision on the behalf of us, entire city, without there being guidelines, interviews, direction from the council, from the staff, from our directors. I mean, there was a lot of people that should have been involved in that. And I think that shouldn't have taken place the way it did. And for the council to find out after it's aired at a ball game, then the council finds out, we have a hometown hero we didn't even know about. So I just want that on record, that I disagree with how that went about. And if any of this other, I would like to know if any of the council knew about this prior to it happening. Were you aware? Were you aware? Were you aware before the game?
Before the game, I was contacted to ask if there was issues. I asked how this was selected. I was told the committee, which I assumed was the school, the chamber, and the holiday committee. This was why Ms. Winkle was on vacation. I talked to Mr. Holden as filling in her shoes if there was issues, and I talked to Chief Cantrell, and they did not pose any issues or why they could not have been selected that way. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Were you aware of it prior to it happening?
Nobody tells me anything.
Me neither.
And normally that wouldn't have been chosen by your holiday and events committee. That's usually, cause that's part of the city,
Yeah.
you know, that usually comes from like your chamber or something like that.
Well, I just feel like if it was,
Best of the
if it's
best.
this hometown hero, the public should have been involved. There could have been stories in the community that could have been addressed. And again, I'm not taking away from the person that got it, but, our directors were not involved in the decision of someone, like nominating someone from their department, allowing the citizens to say, hey, these are the guidelines, can you make nominations for veterans or for someone in the community? I just feel like that it was not done in a good light. So I'd like that to go on record.
Who set this up? I never heard of it.
Yeah.
I didn't go to, I was working.
That's what we're trying to find out here, how it came about.
Was it, okay.
I didn't find out about it till it was done.
Well, no, but was it the Chamber of Commerce doing something?
No.
Was the school
No.
doing something?
No, the chamber said they were not involved.
Hmm.
So it's coming down to a holiday committee that put this together and chose this person with no guidelines.
I think the intention after, I talked to Liza, and I think the intention was at one time, they wanted to, be able to have all the firefighters and police officers come for a game at the Railroaders. And then because of the funds were not there for that, it's my understanding then they decided to come up with a hometown hero nominee.
But who gave them that authority?
I
Was
can't-
that at the discretion of the council?
I
I mean,
can't answer that,
who-
I don't know.
Who decided we needed to choose some, just makes no sense to me. And I've been very frustrated about the situation, so I just, there's no clarification, no matter how many people we ask, nobody can give a direct answer who gave that authority, where the guidelines came from.
Well, bottom line, this gets fixed.
Yes.
With what you're proposing, Angie, so.
That's right.
Yes, I agree.
Moving on to item D, discuss residential general homestead property tax exemption and percentage for the city.
At the last council meeting, I think we had a citizen ask us about this, and we don't have this. So we're recommending that the council set it at 10% or not less than 5,000 on your exemption, on your homestead exemption.
Does that rate apparently looks pretty common,
It is very common in the other cities. Cleburne,
Joshua?
Joshua, some
Some others
cities
are
don't
less.
have it either, but it's really common.
Is there a max rate, or can we do what we want?
We just do it, well, you can do it higher than that, but
Up to a maximum of 20%
yeah.
is what you're allowed to do,
A maximum of 20%?
20%.
What is our demographic for our aging elderly folk here? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't.
Of course,
Looked-
65
I
is the
looked
new
at our,
40, right?
I looked at what we got from CAD, recently got from CAD. And you have a lot of exemptions out there that are the over 65 exemption. And some veterans, disability, or veterans exemptions. So you've got quite a bit of exemptions. I don't know what it is right off the top of my head, the number of them. I just know the number, dollar amount, and it's quite a bit, so. I wanna say it's like 19 million, something like, I can't remember. And I probably don't have it with me, this is everything that has to do with the budget. I probably don't have it with me. But I know you have quite a bit on exemptions. And I was just trying to follow suit with what the other cities were doing. If that's something that, you know, if we're interested in doing that.
Did you say 19 million?
I'm almost thinking you have that, but, cause I thought, wow, that's a lot of exemptions. That's on your valuations.
Yeah.
Before anybody quotes me on property tax rates, that's just your evaluations. And I'm almost positive it was like 19 million. I don't have it with me, but I'll get it
I like
back
it
to
at 10,
you.
honestly.
Well, you were saying
Personally.
comparative.
Personally, I like it at 10, what the staff has recommended. I know it's higher than other cities, but we just popped people hard.
Well, you were saying it was it was comparable to other cities, but all the other cities show 1%?
You got something too, Joshua.
They're at like 5%.
No,
And
5,000.
5,000.
Yeah, don't look at the school districts and special districts. And, cities are like the top 10 or 12.
So the max is 20,000?
20%.
20%.
I'm sorry, I wrote percent down.
And this is for over 65.
No, this is general.
This is just
a
general
general
homestead exemption.
exemption.
Being in budget season, are we able to know how this may impact the revenue?
No, if you, we'll probably bring this back to you on the special meeting that we're proposing to have on the 27th to adopt this. And that way we're meeting our deadline to get it to, it has to go to CAD and to the tax assessor. And then we don't get our property tax rate values until the 25th of July. So I don't know how it will affect us, but it should be figured in on this year.
And something like this isn't permanent. We can change it as we wish each year, right?
I wouldn't suggest changing it each year. I think you could.
If we desire to do so.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
guess
saying
you
we should
could.
either, but it's just,
That's why I would start at the lower end, 5%.
you've got 10 down here.
Well, 10%, not 10%,
Yeah,
not less than 5,000. I was thinking of 5,000. Or not less than 5,000. I mean,
What is it-
Burleson does 2%.
I know, I saw that.
What is it currently?
We don't have one.
You don't have
Or
it.
0.
Okay.
But it would be nice to try to help out a little.
No, I agree.
Joshua does 10%. Alvarado doesn't do anything,
Cleveland.
unless they've changed it. I don't know. They could have changed it and it's not here yet.
All right, for my one man, one opinion, I'm saying 10.
I like 10.
10%.
We're not taking action.
No, I can't, I don't think.
10.
Okay.
I like what's written or what's recommended. I'm still leery as to
How it's
the
gonna
unknown of
impact.
how it's gonna affect us.
It shouldn't affect us much. I mean, I don't know that off the top of my head. I'd have to get the numbers and have them do the estimates on it. But like I said, the quicker we get it to them, they can bring it, we get it to CAD, then they can give me an update. And then I can bring
You
in
can
the
do
numbers
some
for
sort
that.
of, can you do any kind of projections?
On this?
Yeah, based on last year's numbers?
No, because I don't know how many you have homestead.
Okay.
And you've had a lot of building prior to me just since I've got here, there's been a lot of housing development and people have moved in.
I guess that's why I was saying
And
based on
so
last
they
year's
could have,
numbers.
yeah,
Can the
and
tax
if they go
office do it?
file,
I get
so
you. All right, no
I think
problem.
they're still trying to catch up with us on our counts, our population count. Cause it came on really quick.
And the tax office can't do it, they don't do a projection.
They can, they will, but once we set that, then we'll send that over and then they can give that to us. That'll come from CAD, and then we'll get our property tax rates from the tax assessor's office.
Yeah.
Afterwards. But once we get it to CAD, then they can plug that in and give me a new printout to show me.
Anything further?
Question.
Item E, discuss the parade route to be used for any parades proposed through the city.
This goes back to special events again, and staff and I have sat down and talked about this. And because there was kind of a situation of closure of two major highways, what is the other one called? Main Street and 2231. There's an issue of closing two major thoroughfares through TxDOT for a special event. So we sat down as a staff, went through, they drove this route, and they've looked at the route. It can be shortened to start at the park if they wanted a shorter route. It'll bring them through here and then turn them on to Railroad, where they can disperse, or they can park their trailers, or stage to pick up their children that are riding on floats and get them out of traffic way. Because when we shut down here by the railroad tracks, we'll have an officer that can direct traffic from people who are coming off 171 and send them that direction on Railroad, and then kind of let them go the back way. So it will help with the flow, and I think once we get this adopted, we'll have to bring this back, get it adopted, and then we will send this to TxDOT as a pre-approval, get a pre-approval, and then anyone who's wanting to have a parade will use this route. Now, they'll still have to contact TxDOT and get their permission, but it gives TxDOT notification that this is the route that's been approved by the council, and that it, get it pre-approved through them. Kind of cuts down on the time.
The TxDOT tells us we can't go the way we normally, the way we've been going.
On the two routes,
On the route we usually take from the elementary school out down Allen and around town and back, they tell us we can't do that no more.
yes, because it involves well, they didn't say you can't do it, but they called and was very upset about us doing it that way. because it shut down two major
So
thoroughfares.
TxDOT did call and say we can't do that no more. During the Christmas event, they were calling me, advising me that I need to shut down the parade immediately and open up one of those major roadways. We cannot shut down two major roadways. So that's why we have to change our parade route.
And that's pretty common. Normally, that's just one TxDOT roadway that you can shut down at a time for parades.
I understand changing it, but I don't like it. I just see, once you're coming off Links and you're hitting North Main, there's nowhere for people to park, there's nowhere for people to watch. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too sentimental on the coming through the neighborhoods and everybody out in their yards watching, and I just see a strip there that's not viewable by people.
Well, that is another thing we looked at. We were considering going down Nelson for that reason. But we have to worry about cars parking on Nelson and that turn with trailers. We actually hooked up a trailer to a Public Works truck with Sean and drove this route to make sure it's capable of being a route.
During your special events, just mostly they gather at the park, right?
Oh, no.
No?
You should see the city streets.
Okay. So this
Yeah.
doesn't go through any kind of major thoroughfare of the street?
No, it goes
Neighborhood?
goes down Allen.
Oh,
Yeah, the old route,
But with us shutting down,
that's shutting down Pearson and,
but with us shutting
914.
down Main Street completely down, they can still gather down. We can make a line where they can still gather down Main Street and see the route.
yeah. It's just that from Links entering onto North Main,
There's that little,
there's that
that, mhm.
pasture ditch area, and there's, I mean, it's gonna be I don't know.
I'm with Stephanie, I miss the old days when it came by and
I'm just thinking, I'm just visualizing all these cars down in the ditch and people in the ditch and in that area of North Main till they get to the Baptist church.
well, we'll have to put up no parking signs if that's something that's an issue.
Like I said, I like the old route too, but TxDOT is kind of
And I
putting their foot
understand
down.
that, totally, but I just feel like we're losing a section there of involvement.
Can we assign like a designated parking areas to keep them off the sides of the streets and ditches and all that? I mean, I don't know, is that possible?
If we do,
private properties,
Yeah.
people's private property, I
Yeah.
don't think so,
Yeah.
that's not gonna go.
if we
No, I'm
do,
not
we'd
saying
have to do
proper, I'm just saying-
notifications.
Even alongside the city easements, is that not gonna interfere with the floats? If there's cars on both sides parking?
Yeah, with the cars parked on both sides, 917 Main Street's wide enough to have that. Like I said, we can put up, police tape on these easements and stuff, so no one parks on them and stuff, and like I said, we'll have an officer stationed to make sure that's not happening as well. And we can even put, police tape where people can gather and get, with the lawn chairs, sit down with the float to make sure they can also bring their lawn chairs and see the parade as well.
You didn't shut the parade down when TxDOT called you.
No, I did not.
I don't think they had that long of a route, or it
No,
didn't
by the
last that long, did it?
time he called, they were going to the last three floats, so I kinda took my time going over there.
Well done.
So, like I said, I like the old parade route as well. I've been here for 10 years doing it, but unfortunately, TxDOT's kinda put us in the spot.
Sure.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Down High Point, good grief.
I'm okay with High Point, I'm okay with Links, I'm just not okay with that section of North Main to the,
Oh, you don't like that part?
Can we, since you can't do both, is there any way with less traffic on Pearson instead of on 917, could they go down Pearson? You said we could have one option or the other.
You won't be able to go to the park,
You couldn't come down,
because once you cross Main Street,
Yeah,
you
you
now shut
can.
down another road.
Yeah, cause when
We can't shut down.
can't shut
oh,
down
because you're
both.
crossing over. I see what you're saying.
So it's a little tricky
Yeah,
trying
it
to
is
get this.
tricky,
I see what you mean.
Especially when you have two text dot highways
yeah.
in between.
And then, like I said, we thought about going down Nelson, but the fear if someone on the, that's living down Nelson parks on the roadway, that road's not very wide. And
Is
you're asking-
RBG gonna be a big enough area for floats to set up, you think?
Yes, yeah, they have that whole side parking spot. It should be big enough, and that's our issue we're running into on Nelson.
Have we talked to the school yet?
Not yet, but they're not gonna have an issue.
So they're gonna finish
In front of the city
City
hall,
Hall,
We're just gonna
just
bring
down
them.
this street?
down the street. They're
Yeah.
gonna finish in front of the city hall like that we've always done. I think the one year we did it the opposite way.
Well, they didn't finish it that last parade.
Yeah, that's the only time we've never done that, but they're still gonna finish out here, so they can either go up this roadway right here and go out, or they can just go down railroad down to Coleman, you know, on Pearson. Go.
And people can pick their kids up or whatever, drop their floats.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Unfortunately, yes.
We're wanting to try to get this straightened out before, because I know homecoming parade's coming up, Christmas is coming up. And we wanted to address this before then.
And the good thing is if they do have a smaller parade, they can actually start at the park with this route. So if we have a smaller parade, they can start at Allen and go down the route. So that is another option as well. I get the main 917 Main Street area right there.
I get it.
Do you want them to bring the other option before it's the resolution is drafted to adopt this one?
No, cause that other option's gonna just fall right back to the problem we would originally have.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Thank
pick-
you, though.
It's pick your poison, whether you make it to the park or you don't. I mean,
Okay.
would it be fair to say the council's recommendation is go with the communicator?
Yeah, whatever,
Agreed.
safety first.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to items of community interest, there's nothing listed. Is there anything anyone else is aware of?
City Hall will be closed tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Keep forgetting, tomorrow, Wednesday, for Juneteenth.
All right, moving on to item 9, executive session. Closed meeting of the City of Godley, Texas will now be held pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551.072, deliberation about real property, 201 West Godley Avenue and 8829 North Highway 171, and Section 551.074, personnel matters, appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer, Public Works Director. The regular session is now temporarily closed, and the council is convening an executive session at 8:07 PM, June 18th, 2024. The Godley City Council will now reconvene to regular session at 8:53 PM, June 18th, 2024. Action from executive session.
Motion to approve Sean Holden's resignation.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion by Councilmember Yarborough and a second by Councilmember Rodriguez to accept the Public Works Director Sean Holden's resignation letter. Further discussion? Councilmember Yarborough?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Is there any further business? Meeting is adjourned at 8:54 PM.